Paul, my tall Wookiee-like friend, how are you, sir?
Court appearance.
Court appearance? Well, I'm no stranger to the vagaries of the British justice system, but not today. No, the reason that I'm so sartorially elegant is because of your text from last night, which reads, Steve, don't forget we're doing Preza tomorrow. So I'm Preza, John Prescott, former deputy leader of the Labour Party, you know. John Prescott. He was a bit northern, he was a bit sort of fisty.
Yeah. Who do you think under the age of 50 is going to remember John Prescott?
How many people do you think watching us are under 50? None.
I wonder if there are any ladies watching this.
Ladies! You've been in the sun too long, mate. No, sorry.
You okay?
Yeah. I tell you what, right, I'm feeling very professional dressed like this. So I think, what do you reckon? I should do the whole item wearing this suit. What do you reckon?
No, I reckon you're better off in your tight black clothing, actually.
Oh, so I wear tight black clothing, do I?
Yeah.
It's the late 1940s, and Italy's industry lies in ruins after World War II. The mighty Piaggio, whose engines had powered the Italian Air Force, are reduced to making a primitive air-cooled single-cylinder two-wheeler. After that, they get to make an almost comically tiny bubble car. Who could have known then that just 50 years later they would dominate the world of rallying and be responsible for this street-level legend, the mighty Piaggio Impreza WRX.
What?
What do you mean, what?
That's not correct.
That is all factually correct, I think you'll find, apart from the last bit of artistic license.
The last bit's the important bit. Do it again, dummy.
Dummy? In the late 1940s, Germany's once mighty industry lay smouldering in ruins. The giant BMW corporation, whose engines had powered the Luftwaffe, were reduced to manufacturing a basic single-cylinder air-cooled runaround. After that, the Allies allowed them to make a comically tiny bubble car. Who could have knew then that just 50 years later, they would utterly dominate the world of rallying and be responsible for this street-level legend, the mighty BMW Impreza WRX.
Have you been drinking?
No, not much.
Well, what are you talking about? It's got nothing to do with that.
Mate, all of it was correct up until the last bit where I just sort of embellished a bit and just changed the story around. You know, I've said this to you before, just go with the story. What's the problem?
But it doesn't make any sense. Please, and I say this nicely, do it again.
Don't you call me a dummy. It's the late 1940s, and the once mighty giant that was Japanese industry lies broken and smouldering in the ruins of World War II. Fuji Heavy Industries, whose engines had powered the Imperial Air Force, are reduced to manufacturing a basic air-cooled runaround. They followed that with a comically tiny bubble car with a rear engine in the back. Who could have known then that just 50 years later they would utterly dominate the world of rallying and be responsible for this street-level legend, the Subaru Impreza WRX.
Subaru?
Yes, mate, Subaru. Do you know why I say that? Because that's how you pronounce it. You got a problem? You got a problem with that, mate?
No, I can't be bothered.
Now, Paul,
yeah?
What have these people, these men, got in common? Jared Leto, Russell Crowe,
Yep.
Damian Lewis,
Yeah.
Bruce Willis. What have they all got in common?
They all went to Epstein's Island?
No, absolutely not.
Oh.
Although Stephen Hawking went, didn't he?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Hello, ladies. Let's get this party started. Now, what have Bob Dylan, Nick Cave, Mick Jagger, David Bowie, and all sorts of other musicians got in common? Don't mention Epstein's Island.
They're all in bands.
Yeah, well, of course they're in bands. They're musicians, you
Not all musicians are in bands.
still. No, they've all been in films, and that's my point. It's the same with car companies. There are only two kinds of car companies. Car companies that exist for racing and only really for racing, and make road cars reluctantly, and they only make a few of them, and those companies are forever going bankrupt. They never make any money. And then there are other car companies who make huge amounts of money by knocking out 3-door and 5-door hatchback, reliable, economical, affordable family cars. But do you know what they always want to do? They always want to go racing, because making regular cars, good, honest, dependable, reliable, affordable regular cars, you don't get no respect for that, do you?
No.
And they want respect, like we all do.
Respect?
I'm saying it like the young people.
Are
Paul. Subaru had been making lots of, as I say, affordable, reliable, dependable family cars. But because they didn't get any respect, they decided to spend a huge wedge that they had. Because at the end of the day, Subaru is Fuji Heavy Industries, who make all kinds of things, including Kawasaki motorbikes. Fuji Heavy Industries had a ton of dough, so they thought, but no respect. So they thought, do you know what we'll do? We'll go racing, and we'll win. And do you know what they didn't do?
Go racing.
No, they went racing. Paul, I already said they went racing. Have you?
They didn't win.
Have you been having cider on your cornflakes again, mate? No, they went racing with the Leon, or the Leone, the car that came before the Impreza, and they raced in rally, they competed in rallying, or as the Americans call it, race rallying, for 10 years, and they won. One event in 10 years. But then, this car, the Impreza as they call it, and they couldn't stop winning. They couldn't stop winning. Right, let's get past this from the get-go, as our North American friends would say. I'm going to be saying Subaru Impreza. Now, I know that's wrong, and it's actually Subaru Impreza, but I'm not going to say that, because if I do, it's going to be annoying. I could say that Subaru had a bright idea, an original idea, but the Japanese, and the last time the Japanese had an original idea was the 9th century, the involuted curve. I'll give them that. Since then, they've basically just ripped everyone else off, haven't they? Whether it's cars, motorcycles, homewares, white goods, computers. Everybody else has the idea, they refine it, they're bloody good at that, I'll give them that. They're great at refining things, but they're not very original, are they? Subaru looked at what Lancia had done with the Delta, and they copied it. The all-wheel drive on Subaru, the all-wheel drive system, worked through a viscous coupling in the central diff and in the rear diff. So it's not the same way that four-wheel drive would have worked on what is now called an SUV. Boy, is this getting complicated. Am I overcomplicating things, Paul, again? What do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
And back in my days on the world's most successful car show, Top Gear.
Oh, you're talking about Top Gear again, are you?
I rarely mention it, if at all. But yeah, Subaru used to send us the cooking Imprezas. They used to send us like the normal one, and it was hilarious. It was like, what is this? The non-turbo versions in like the base model trim with like horrible, like the seats with the same sort of fabric that they have in A&E or in a job centre or the passport office, in any sort of public building where you're obliged to wait, and they think that people might void themselves for some terrible reason. They make the seats out of a certain sort of fabric. Well, that's what was in the non-turbo versions of the Subaru Impreza. We used to get them at this. Oh, can we send you the new 2 litre? We'd be like, what? The 2? Oh no, it's the ordinary car without a turbo. But this thing, I mean, you don't even have to drive it fast to realise why it became such a legend. There's no originality in this car. Subaru copied Lancia. I am saying that definitively. Lancia had taken the Delta, the Lancia Delta. I mean, has there been a more boring car made in Italy? The Italians normally can't help themselves. They make, you know, if there was one of those little tugs at the airport for taking your luggage to the plane, they'd still refine the handling and make it quite interesting to drive. The ordinary Lancia Delta was an incredibly average, boring car. And look what it became, the Integrale.
So, is this better than the Integrale though?
Yeah. So this car's been lowered, and I know it wasn't the current owner that did it, so I could have a go. You know, Pro Drive, those people, when you're on the M40, you drive past them, you think, oh, Pro Drive. Yeah, that have done all that stuff. When they decided what combination, hold on, concentrate. What combination of shocks and springs the WRX should have, the people who made that decision are really clever, with loads of experience. But then what had happened is, people would get hold of one of these and they'd think, I want to change a lot of stuff on it. So you take what is a beautifully balanced machine where everything has been designed to work in cooperation with everything else. The output of the turbocharged engine, the response of the steering, the linear movement and operation of the suspension system. And what you do is you order some stuff out of those little adverts in Max Power and completely ruin the car. Well done, British people from the 1990s.
Now the lowered suspension is really making this a lot less comfortable than it should be. That's my impression. It's skitty, isn't it, because of it?
Yeah, and of course we've got the Brabantia back box. We're all familiar with the new breed of affordable ODB readers that connect your phone and tell you what's wrong with your car. But what if your car's tip-top and it's you that's feeling a bit under the weather, a bit second-hand, a bit peaky, as your mother might say? Well, from Ronco, we present the OMG reader. Simply plug it in and within seconds, it will tell you why you're a wrong 'un. Why is it called the OMG reader? Well, just wait and see where you plug it in. Oh. Ooh. We can't fix what's wrong with you. Nobody can. But we can tell you why you're a wrong 'un. Remember, the OMG reader from Ronco is not available in shops. But then again, what is? I mean, what even are shops? The OMG reader from Ronco, a World of Biscuit corporation. Now back to the car.
This now.
What?
Filter.
I've done this before, you know.
Yeah.
You're thinking that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, you've told me about your instances. Can I have a lift?
You what? This car has been modified and so isn't the best example, and even the guy that owns it, and we do thank him for allowing us to borrow it and to drive it with moderate vigour. Would you say moderate vigour, Paul?
Moderate.
Is this moderate vigour?
Yeah.
What about this?
I want to go home tonight.
It's just such a great driver's car. Now, I spent more of last night than anyone in their right mind should do looking at Lancia Delta Integrales online. We're talking 40 grand for a nice 16 valve, and for a car of collector quality, another £100,000 or £145. I saw a Lancia Delta Integrale for sale online for £250,000, and it said it was an Evo 2, and there's no such thing as an Evo 2 Integrale. So there.
Right, settle down.
It's a facelifted Evo 1. What I would say is this though. Sorry, I've calmed down. Do you know what, Paul? Driving this Subaru, the old testosterone's started to flow through this
Maybe I should have a go.
dried up husk of a man. What?
Nicely.
It's a great driver's car. It really is. And for the money, which is a fraction of the 40 grand that they want for a nice 16 valve Delta Integrale. What a bargain. You can't hide the essence of WRX that is right there in this car. Pro drive, you did a brilliant job 30 years ago, and it's still a really good car to drive. Think about it, a 16 valve Integrale, it struggles for 200 horsepower. A standard WRX is 240, and an STI, can you imagine having to go home and explain to the missus that you've gone out and got an STI? I need to talk to you, love. What have you done now? I've got an STI. He rescued this car. We should give him credit, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
He rescued this car. I tell you what, doesn't it drive great? Right, rattles, bangs, creaks. This interior might be basic, but it's bloody good quality. Look how easily it wears the ears. Because it's what, 25, 26 years old now, this car? So how's it doing in the Rockstar Girlfriend Stakes? Shall we get onto that topic again? It's funny, there was a picture in the paper this week. It was on the intranet. And it was of Mick Jagger at the Olympics, and it says, Mick Jagger surrounded by a load of millennials who don't know who he is. Yeah, except for the very beautiful lady millennial sat next to him, who knows exactly who he is, and she knows exactly what the score is. Oh, what?
Now that is a lot of cows.
I'm going to stay back here so I don't, because I'm from a dairy farming background, although I didn't have to do it myself, thank goodness. It's funny because my dad used to have to get up at like 2:30 in the morning because my grandfather, John Berry, had a dairy farm. Captain's Farm, Hillsworth, Bury, Lancashire, in case you think I'm making this up.
No.
Well, some people would think, oh, he's just, no.
Well, I think that one of those cows recognised you.
Dairy farmers. Yeah, hello, Flossie.
So, Steve,
Yes, Paul.
which famous person can you imagine owning a car like this?
Right. Well, if it were... I was on Through the Keyhole. I bet you never knew that, did you?
I didn't know that.
In the 90s.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I never watched it.
Lloyd Grossman. Yes, you did.
I did.
Millions of people watched it, Paul.
But I didn't watch it.
Yeah, but do you not remember Lloyd? Now, who would live in a house like this? It's over to you, David. And then David Frost again. David Frost with his colourful socks. Do you not remember?
Yeah, but I didn't watch it. Is this answering the question?
Modern furniture, and in its place, the back end of a Chevrolet. She wasn't best pleased. Who would live in a house like this? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn around and I'm going to answer your question.
Yeah, about time.
Most valuable properties always have the worst road leading up to them, don't they? Well, it's to put off poor people who haven't got a Range Rover.
Is that what it is?
Remind me of what you said, Paul.
Well, it was about 10 minutes ago, that wasn't it?
Every Batman has his Robin. Every Herbert Viola has, I'm trying to remember what was she called in Moonlighting. Now, if you say you didn't watch Moonlighting in the 90s, I don't think we could be friends.
Was it about vampires?
No, it was Bruce Willis's breakthrough role, wasn't it? If you ask me, Who would have driven this car back in the day?
Who would have driven this car back in the day?
It depends on the livery.
Yeah.
If it had been Subaru World Rally Blue, which is that gorgeous, vivid, purpley blue colour with gold wheels, which we both happen to think look great.
Yep.
Not many cars with gold wheels look great, very few. But the WRX, blue and gold, look great. Now, that was too flash for a lot of people. I think the blue and gold would have been like Keith Flint out of the Prodigy. He would have had that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the fire starter, twisted fire starter, that geezer, right? He would have had that. If, however, it had been in this more subtle combination of silver with a sort of gunmetal finish on the wheels, like on the STI, I think that would have been somebody a bit more cerebral, somebody like Jimmy Nail.
Jimmy Nail?
Yeah, a thinking man, but also a man who liked a performance car, which is why he had that Sierra Cosworth.
Oh, the Sierra Cosworth's not.
Sapphire.
Yeah, is that really a thinking man's car?
Hold on. That very car coming to big in the 90s very soon. Oh yeah, baby. The calls have been made. The actual Sapphire Cosworth that was in Spender here on big in the 90s. Anyway, back to the Impreza WRX. Go on.
Yeah.
Who do you reckon would have driven it? And tell me, which one? Who do you think would have had the blue and gold? Because the blue and gold is too much for most people.
I know who would have had the blue and gold one.
Right, go on. I said Keith
that's
Flint out of the Prodigy. Go on.
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah, Simon Pegg.
Are you joking?
No.
Simon
I could
Pegg.
probably see Peggy in one of those. And he had one in Hot Fuzz at the end as well.
Did he?
Yeah, you've seen Hot Fuzz, haven't you?
And what about...
Don't tell me you've not seen Hot Fuzz.
I watched Hot Fuzz about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I've watched the Cornetto trilogy in full probably about 4 or 5 times in its entire the trilogy. Go on, what's the trilogy then? What's the Cornetto trilogy? Go on.
It's a set of ice cream adverts.
No, don't you try ducking out of this, Mr. Paul Roverman. Hot Fuzz.
Oh yeah,
Shaun of the Dead, and the one that people can't remember.
Is it Paul? No.
Oh, that was the one that he was in. That was a Hollywood movie, and it was terrible.
It was, yeah. The World's End?
Yes.
Right.
If you had been able to get that, I don't know if we could remain on friendly terms.
You keep on threatening with this kind of thing. Well, I feel like I'm going to go home and study.
Here we're going across the level crossing. Lovely, lovely Lancashire. Oh, a man drinking cider on a bridge. Hey, Steve, when you were on telly the other day, he said I was round at my mother's. Now, his mother would probably be the same age as my mother, i.e. well into her 80s. And he says, she doesn't say much, but you came on and I said, look, it's Steve Berry. And she said, is that the boy who spilled Coca-Cola on my carpet? And I said, what did you say? And I said, well, yeah, because you did. I said, Robert, that was 46 years ago, and it wasn't even that much Coke. It wasn't the whole glass. It was just like a little bit of it flopped over the edge onto the carpet. And she's waited 46 years to say that. And that, my friends, is women in a nutshell. All that stuff about elephants. Oh, elephants never forget. Yeah, well, would they remember me spilling a bit of Coke 46 years ago? She could have said, oh, that's the guy who was on Top Gear for 10 years and has featured on all kinds of television programmes, wrote a best-selling book, was on Through the Keyhole with Lloyd Grossman and David Frost, Sir David Frost. No, she said, is that the boy who spilled Coca-Cola on my carpet? Women. It's great from here, 10 miles away. Do you know when it doesn't look so great? When you're there. In the Mitsubishi. Because controversially, I don't really rate Colin McRae. Hello, I'm Toby Twat, and welcome to Roadshow Antiques, a new antique show with added suck, squeeze, bang and blow. Today we're in Rochdale. What is a Rochdale?
It's a town, you know.
Oh, seems so. So without further ado, over to my friend and colleague Steve Berry, who's turned up something from the mystical East. Hey, well, thanks, Toby. And thank you, Kyle, who's brought this car here today. And this, I think, is my favourite kind of classic car. A car with a deep and revealing history. A car with a story to tell. But which flavour of Subaru do we have here? Well, there are various clues, some of them misleading. For starters, we have the pink eye, if you'll pardon the expression, and the big fog lamps there, and they scream import. WRX, JDM, Japanese domestic market import, many of which, of course, came over from Japan to the UK, because the Japanese, well, they love cars when they're new, and when they're just a couple of years old, they get rid of them, don't they? And they send them here. Ignore these big STI alloys that this car is fitted with, 17-inch. I'm pretty sure that this one, the 95, and I'm saying it's a 95, not just because of the number plate, but because of these twin air intakes there. They were 2 years only, 95, 96, as were these rather slabby, unfortunately proportioned mirrors. These were sexed up and slimmed down after 96. Moving towards the rear of the car, ignoring those nice alloys as we go, we've got the low wing.
How much is it worth?
Down the back with... Yes, Kyle. We'll come to that in just a minute. This is the low wing, believe it or not, with the high-level brake light built into it. And on the back, the legend WRX, and in pink. And we love a bit of pink round here, don't we? STI. Is this, I wonder, one of the limited edition Colin McRae cars, and therefore much more valuable than the...
Yeah, but how much is
I
it worth?
hesitate. Yes, Kyle. Yes, in a minute. Could you just stand over there? Yeah. Oh no, over there. Yes, there. Is this, I wonder, one of the rare Colin McRae special edition cars? I think they were done in silver, black and red, and one car was done in World Rally Blue, what became known as World Rally Blue. It wasn't called that from the start. Straight away a clue.
Yeah, but how much is it worth?
Kyle, yeah, just go and sit in the producer's car. Yeah, yes, the Dacia Duster. Yeah, and don't come out till I say so, right? Yes, that car. Right. 3-spoke steering wheel, but a horn. Now, that's important because if it had horn delete, then this might have been one of the rare and valuable WRX STI RA cars, which were sold as kind of clubman competitors cars, all stripped out, ready to race, bolt cage in, and off you go. These seats, very nice seats, but pro drive seats. I think replacing the original ones, because what I was expecting to see here is WRX STI and not Pro Drive. Let's solve the mystery by looking under the hood. Right, well, hey, no need for Poirot on this Orient Express. Yeah? Lots of Japanese characteristics, lots of Japanese stickers and stuff like that. And yes, lots of it's in English, the international language of the entire planet, but lots of it's in Japanese, and the stuff that tells you when to check things or change things is in kilometers, because that's what they use in Japan. Pink turret tops, you're saying, Berry? That means it's a WRX STI. Well, you could paint them turret tops pink. I don't think they're the original turret tops either. You could paint them that colour pink in like 2 minutes. I think this strut brace is a beefier aftermarket edition, and I think that intercooler is a larger aftermarket edition, because this car has been fiddled with by the tuners. Sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. So, Kyle, come here. What's it worth? I'll tell you what it's worth. 2 halves of mate. They wanted to do that for weeks. The mighty Piaggio Impreza WRX.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No, that's wrong.
That is all right and factually correct, apart from the last bit of artistic license.
Yeah, but that's the most important bit, the last bit, dummy.
We've got to do it again, or else there's no reason for me to do it again. Right, no, it's okay.